Welcome, everyone, to show number 4 of Gazette Sports Chat. We are grateful that you chose to give us a look. Gazette Sports Chat is a branch of the online magazine Linglestown Gazette and is brought to you in part by our friends just down the road at Ted's Bar and Grill, 7300 Allentown Boulevard. Ted's Bar and Grill is a huge supporter of Central Dauphin Athletics. We're going to talk about boneless wings today, 49-cent boneless wings every Monday night at Ted's. A boneless wing, for those who don't know, is just a chunk of whole muscle, all white meat with a nice breading. Less work than a bone-in wing. You don't make quite as much of a mess when you're eating them. And they have all the same flavor options. The girls just had some boneless wings after their workout. What'd you think, girls? All right.
Good.
We know at least Jamie liked the boneless wings. So anyway, if you haven't figured it out already, today's guests are members of the Central Dauphin Lady Rams basketball team and their head coach, Randy Gambalungi, also known as Coach G. Girls, would you mind introducing yourselves?
I'm Grace.
I'm Sam.
I'm Nadia.
I'm Carol.
I'm Faith.
I'm Jamie.
All right. Thanks, girls. So we're going to start with Faith. I know that you worked hard in the off season. You're probably one of the better defensive players I've seen in the area, and you're long. You have great lateral movement, great footwork. Do you like playing defense?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah. My favorite. I like defense more than offense.
Okay. Well, it sort of shows because you do a great job. I remember last year you had to cover Katie Jaycott in the game over there. I think we ended up winning that 38-30, and she had 3 field goals the whole game, and you were on her primarily. How was that?
It felt good.
I'm sure it did. And I was told your shooting improved over the off season. What do you attribute that to?
Coach Bob, our JV coach.
He knows how to teach shooting?
Yep.
Yeah, I know he does.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, he's encouraged to see you play this year. He said that you've been shooting so much better and that you've worked at it, you know. And the last thing I want to ask you is, probably last year at this time, if I would have said, hey, Faith, what do you want to do after you're done with high school? You would have said, just go to college, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now what are you going to do?
Play basketball.
And what do you attribute that to?
Well, I just wasn't ready to let it go. I had too much fun with this team, so I just want to continue playing.
Right. So you got new basketball energy, right?
Yes.
That's good. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Nadia. Nadia, defense question for you too. I think it was the Wilson game last year. I went down to the Wilson game. It was on the road, and I watched you for a while play defense. And the guy I was sitting with, I said, Nadia's the quarterback on that defense. He seemed to be the person that was spacing everybody out, the one that was chattering the most, telling everybody where they need to get to. Do you look at that as a role on the team?
Yeah, I think defense is a lot more important because if the other team can't score, then you can't lose. So.
Right. I mean, even if your offense isn't doing too well, I mean, if you hold a team to 25 to 28 points, you only need 26 to 29, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't mention it, so I will now. This team won the District 3 championship last year down at Giant Center, and Nadia was one of the stars. And I know this is a team that you probably typically don't talk about stars because it's a team. You know, everybody contributes, but I think you had maybe 9 or 10 points in the fourth quarter. Is that right?
Yeah, all the more foul shots pretty much.
You were 9 for 10 from the free throw line?
11 for 12.
Oh, 11 for 12. I usually
Usually got it.
All right. Well, it just didn't. It seemed like if you guys played another quarter, you wouldn't miss again. I mean, you just didn't miss. Is that something you think you can take into this season now?
Yeah, I really think so. I think working on foul shots is really important. So.
Good. Well, that was exciting to watch. And next up is Sam. Sam's the baby of the bunch. She's the only junior. The rest of them are all seniors. And Sam's probably going to have to play point guard this year. And she's also I think Sam would probably be the best point guard and the best two guard in the area if she could play both. And but I was doing some reading the other day, and there's a lot of point guards now that can get open and get some shots. Do you think it's going to be a tough assignment having to bring the ball up and then try to get your shots?
It's definitely something I'm going to have to work on, but my team really helps me out with that, setting screens and just looking for me when I'm open, so it really helps to have them around me.
That's right. And I'm going to talk about some other sports you play. I think Sam's probably one of the best female athletes I've ever seen. I mean, seriously. She plays 3 sports now. I think if she played 6, she could probably be a star in all 6. But she can't fit that in, of course. Softball, you were all-area, second-team all-area, which encompasses Mid-Penn, Tri-Valley, and Lancaster, Lebanon, and first-team all-Mid-Penn as a pitcher and a shortstop. And I think you had one of the lower ERAs in the whole area, too. Talk about your commitment to softball and everything you have to do all year round.
Softball is what I love. It's my passion, and I work hard for it, and it's definitely something I want to do in my future. So, it's something I put the work into all year round, and it's fun to me.
How about golf? Is that fun to you? Sam just started playing golf competitively, and I looked at it, and I don't know because I didn't talk to you about it. I talked to your dad about it. I looked at it as something maybe just to relax a little bit, or how serious were you about golf?
Going into it, I was just, trying to have fun with it, but then I just got, I wanted to, work at it more because I saw, that I could actually, contribute to the team. So I just did, and, we went to states, which was pretty awesome. And it was just all around, a really good season.
And she can play, too. I watched her play one round, and you played well that day, and you helped your team capture the Mid-Penn Conference Championship, too, right? Okay, well, I look forward to having 2 more years to watch you, and seriously, I don't know if I could count on more than one hand better female athletes in this whole area than Sam. Once again, we're sponsored by Ted's Bar and Grill, 7300 Allentown Boulevard, best sports bar in the Lower Paxton, West Hanover area, and they are strong supporters of Central Dolphin Athletics. Next up is Jamie. Where's Jamie? There she is. Jamie, last year you were probably more of a 4 player, like a strong forward, power forward, and I think you sort of got your offensive game in gear a little bit in the off season. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I worked on shooting the 3 and playing the 3 more than the 4, I guess. Just better to myself.
So you'd be facing the basket a little more, getting more looks?
Yeah, definitely.
Now they're going to count on you for rebounds, too. Are you going to be able to score points and get a lot of rebounds?
Yes, sir. I'll be in the paint. No problem.
Hey, look for Jamie in the paint. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, I know that you were very committed in the off-season to fitness. You look like you lost some weight and you got quicker. What do you do from the end of last year till now?
I played AAU. Uncle Bob,
Uncle Bob's Coach Bob Felker, by the way. It's not Jamie's uncle.
Well, he's definitely had some shooting classes, and he's our conditioning coach as well. He's just bettered me, and I've eaten better. Just done everything I can to better myself on the court.
Good. Thank you. Grace, you're another one. I know you worked real hard in the off season. I coach AAU, and a lot of times I'd see you at the gym. And every time I'd see Grace, she would just be sopping wet with sweat. I mean, really. I mean, I would think, boy, that girl must be working hard. I mean that. What did you do in the off season for fitness wise?
I played AAU, and my AAU coach would really push us. If we made mistakes, we would have to pay for it by sprinting. So our AAU coach really pushed us to be really strong and never give up.
Well, it looks like you guys did do a lot of sprinting. And a couple little birds have told me that you may be.
Vincent, run around.
Oh, you can continue on? Yeah. Is that enough? Oh, okay. We're going to continue on. It adds a little flavor. I was told by a couple people that you may be the most improved player. I mean, there's probably a bunch of girls that would contest that, but you really seem like you're ready to take on an improved role and more minutes this year.
Yeah, in the off season, I was really working on being more aggressive offensively and being stronger defensively also.
Good. All right, I'm going to tell a little story here, and I wouldn't tell. I gave Grace a couple of the questions I was going to ask her, but I wouldn't tell her this one. After the last game of the season, the loss in States, I called Coach G. I called him and congratulated him on a great season. No, I'm sorry. Rewind. It was after the District 3 championship game. I harass Coach G. Sometimes he minds it and sometimes he doesn't. But no, I called him to congratulate him. And I was going over the game with him, and I said to him, because Grace was probably the third player off the bench last year in most games. And I said, Coach G, let me ask you a question. I said, whatever possessed you to put Grace in there down the stretch? I mean, for like the last 3.5 minutes, you were in there till the end of the game. And he said, Joe, because I knew I could trust her to not make any mistakes. And I'll tell you what, I was touched. I mean, and he meant it, and you didn't. You got in there, you handled the ball well, you were 2 for 2 from the free throw line. What was it like to be on the court at the end of the game when the clock went to 0?
It was like I was really happy because I got to experience it with these great group of girls, and I was just trying to relax, be on the court, because it was really nerve-wracking, all the people there, but I just try to relax, get the ball to Sam or Alexis, and
you pulled it off, yeah. Yep, it was mistake-free basketball, just what Coach G knew you could do. He knew it too. He didn't say I thought she could. He said I knew she could get in there and not make any mistakes. So, all right, so now we're down to, let's see here, Carol. Where's Carol? There's Carol. Okay. The off-season work that you girls put in is dizzying. I mean, I talked to Coach G after the last game of the season last year, and I said to him something to the effect of, now you guys get to relax and chill out for a while. And he said, not really. We'll be back at it within a month. And he was right. I had to make a list here of everything you girls do from the end of last year until the season starts. You have Summer League at Cedar Cliff High School, which is, I don't know, maybe 12 to 16 teams take part, and they have actual PIAA officials, and they're running ball there. Team camp at Messiah, which is, 5 days? 5 days of camp?
Yeah.
You went to Kutztown twice as a team. The showcase in Maryland, right? Open gym, which is what you do now 2 days a week. Yeah. Do you play AAU?
Yeah.
Can you tell the people what AAU is for those who don't know?
AAU is like a travel basketball league where girls just go around. They travel all around the world and they play, or all around the nation, sorry. Maybe the world. They travel around and they just play a bunch of games and tournaments.
And do you sometimes have to play against your Central Dauphin teammates in these games?
Yeah, I remember once this season that I played against Grace.
How was that?
It went well.
Who won?
Me.
Your team, right? All right. Well, now you're back together again. So, and I know you have a little bit of a dinged up leg. You're resting right now, getting ready for the season.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Good to hear. Good. All right, Coach G. The first thing I wanted to mention is if you look at this team's schedule each season, it's some of the top competition in the state. And the Commonwealth Division, the teams that the team has to play twice every year is already tough enough. But Coach G goes out and finds, some of the top 5 to 10 teams every year. What's that? What's your out of conference schedule look like this year, Coach?
It's even more difficult than last year. I felt like with the senior group and experienced group we have, winning districts was great, but we did lose in the first round of states, and I felt like playing more top competition throughout the season may lead to a few more losses as the year goes on. We're going to Diamond State Classic in Delaware, which is 8-team bracket with teams from California, Ohio, New Jersey. Delaware, a team that won it last year, is our first round game, and it hopefully will prepare us for that state game that we need to come out in the end.
Right. And I think I should mention in everybody's defense here, you played a team that night in States that just didn't miss all night. I mean, I went through it in my head, and I'm sure you have. How do you stop that? I mean, they were shooting 22-footers all night on you.
Yeah, you sit down in the third quarter.
Okay, that's how you stop it. This team plays just phenomenal defense. I remember last year you went on a stretch. I think the most you gave up over 5 or 6 games was like 31 points. It was 24, 27, 25, 28. How important is defense to this team?
Oh, it's crucial. I think we spend a lot of time watching film, preparing the team. Matchups are really important for us, knowing who to stop on each particular team. We spend more time preparing defensively than we do offensively for games. And I feel like you said, I don't know who said it, but if you can't score,
right?
Nadia said it. But I remember now. I'm getting older.
Well, you can walk away from a game and maybe score 28 points and still win by
still win games. Yeah, exactly. So we try to take away what the opponent does best, and hopefully we do that.
And that's fun to watch. I nicknamed the team 32 Minutes of Hell. We talked about it last year because when they're on a roll defensively, it's like game in and game out. It just doesn't seem like they're going to give up more than 5 or 7 points a quarter, Right.
We're going to call it 32 minutes a heck.
Yeah, that's we already did. We changed it already.
All right,
we already did change it, by the way. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hopefully our viewers will be okay with that word. Let's talk briefly about Alexis Smith, and this is something the coach has to go through every year, where you lose a player that you just wish you had forever, and they come and they go so quickly, and then this is who has to replace them, and you really don't replace an Alexis Smith, right? You just try to sort of make up for what you're missing when she goes.
Yeah, and we had lost a game at Kutztown over the summer, and a team we should have probably beat. And we talked about this exact thing. We talked about how you guys have worked so hard this summer that I'm not expecting one person to replace Alexis. I'm expecting everybody to take some of that burden that Alexis brought. And one of the things we tried to keep that energy. And Alexis always brought that defensive energy, that intensity. So she was more of a leader, on the court, like not a vocal leader, but more based on actions. And so we're. I think our girls are ready to fill that role.
Quick hands she had, huh?
Yeah.
Really quick hands. And the last thing I'll ask is, each team has an identity, or it's like a composition of players. Have you figured out what this team's identity is going to be?
I think from game to game, you keep on trying to improve. But I think we just need to keep on improving. We have the experience, so we have a good idea of what we are. We know the defensive system. We can run. I think our identity is going to be running set plays, setting good screens. I don't think we're going to be as running gun like we were. Alexis and Teray would, leak out a little bit, and we get a lot of transition baskets. I'm not sure we're going to get as many transition baskets this year, but I think in the half-court sets we're going to be able to execute really well because we have 6 really smart kids.
And if you execute really well in the half-court sets, you score points. Yeah. Doesn't matter how you get the points, whether you're running and gunning or you execute well in the half-court sets.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thanks, Coach G. I think anybody else want to say anything else? Nope. I figured you wouldn't. Thanks, everyone. I look forward to the season, and thanks for tuning in once again. Gazette Sports Chat, Joe Gilloway. Thank you.
Bye.
Did you keep it on?
Yeah.
Okay.